Okay, Sunrise
All right.
Software.
Yeah, got some patriotic music here for the campaign season. All important
Copy.
public domain, of course.
Oh, of course, of course. So, okay, I have never played this before. You have to walk me through what exactly is happening here.
Yeah. So I start by setting
Water.
my issues, and you can see that there's Republican and Democrat down there. And so I'm going to be Democrat. I took a moment and was like, what are some good Democrat issues? Well, first I was figuring out the controls. There we go. And I thought about it for a bit, read through them. And these are random. Like there are more issues than this. It pulls from a larger field. I know from screenshots that there are others. So I was like, well, Democrats, we're the nanny state, right? And
Yeah.
shoelaces, very dangerous.
Mhm.
People die tripping on shoelaces. And of course, water gun control. I'm debating with myself here whether am I selecting issues or removing issues? And it's like, I'll assume I'm selecting issues. It makes more logical sense. So I decide to go with water gun control and nanny state banning of shoes with laces.
Cool. Were you limited
so here
to
we
two,
are.
or did you choose to?
I chose to.
Gotcha.
And here we are. So now, there's things, and I figure I'm supposed to go get the things, but the movement is not working well at all.
It looks like you're supposed to be going along the lines, but
yes,
you're stuck in New England where those lines are just a pain in the ass.
So that's what I finally figured out. So this is indeed, that's a negative one. I discovered the red ones are bad there.
The Sun campaign.
In an October surprise, it turns out that to win the presidency is a maze game. That's right. After all of that issue choosing, this is actually just a maze game where the maze is a map of the United States that you have to go along the lines, and you have to collect the good things, which extends your campaign time and gives you money, and you have to avoid the bad things. So that's all it is a maze game.
Well, that's kind of disappointing.
Just with some pithy, I mean, some of the the results when you run into things, some of them are kind of funny, but at the end of the day, it's just a maze game with one very annoying, very short tune repeating over and over and over again. It's been how long? It's been under 3 minutes, and I already want to murder the creator of this tune.
Okay, so, I mean, now, I guess I have to try to defend this somehow, but this looks horribly, horribly annoying from the control standpoint.
Yes, and of course, the ColecoVision's controller is not known. I mean, I have the benefit of playing this with an Xbox One controller where I'm using a D-pad to control them. The ColecoVision disc is not known as the friendliest control device. I can't imagine navigating these lines using a ColecoVision disc when it's this bad using an Xbox One controller.
Well, and then imagine you're not seeing it pixel perfect. You're seeing it on an old school CRT. Yeah. Maybe an old black and white one in your parents' basement as a kid.
Yeah.
Then again, if you're a kid asking your parents for Campaign 84, yeah, it's...
and that song, has it driven you crazy yet, Carl? Because it's so short.
It is no. Over and over again. Now, I have to admit, I am fortunately watching it with the sound quite low. I'm going to raise it up. Let's see.
Yeah, you need the full experience because this song is like 8 bars or less, and it just repeats over and over again.
A vacuum head. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, these jokes are some terrible stuff.
Hit the jackpot in Vegas in a campaign speech. I'm not sure gambling winnings are allowed to be added. Is that legal under campaign finance laws, do you think? Adding a Vegas jackpot that you yourself were wagering, presumably you had to be wagering campaign money. That sounds pretty the square dancers like me.
Yeah, because you're a sidestepper.
And then the Space Exploration Committee are the real vacuum heads because they forgot that they already donated to me. And
Well,
donate
they
it
liked
again.
you so much that they're just going to do it again.
And this is the entire game. Like, you're waiting for
Oh,
something else to
wow.
happen. Nothing else is happening. I don't know why you choose issues at the beginning. I think it's just for fun. Now, there is a 2-player mode. I don't know how the 2-player mode affects things. You can go head to head with a friend. Hitting more jackpots. I'm pretty lucky in Vegas, which is just as well. It would be a real scandal if I weren't. And, it's pretty easy to collect the good ones and pretty easy to avoid the bad ones. You'll see, I collected a bad one right off the bat because I didn't know they were bad.
Yeah.
But I haven't hit one since. They don't move that fast. And you can pretty much always get around things.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the goal is here at this point. There's got to be more to it, right? This got really good reviews.
It's always possible there's something else. I just know that, you collect the good things, and I realized that your campaign hours go up a little bit. Those are some expensive shoes. Apparently, I'm married to Imelda Marcos. I didn't know that.
Oh, we are pulling out all the 80s references today.
Indeed. So at this point, I'm like, okay, so doing the good things is raising my time. I want to get to the end of this election during 7 Minutes in Heaven. And if I keep doing good things, that's not going to work. So at this point, I am throwing the campaign. I am deliberately now chasing the bad ones because the bad ones do reduce your time. And I just want to make it stop. So this is deliberate. I didn't suddenly, have a stroke and forget how video games work. I am now deliberately getting the bad ones to bring this to an end. They also assume, kicked out of your fraternity, they also assume that the presidential candidate is male, which, 1984, there was a female vice presidential candidate. So I don't know that I don't know that they should have been doing that at this time.
Well, there are fraternities
I like this. You can't get past the first level of any video game. That's one of the negative results. That's pretty fun.
Now, in their defense, there are fraternities that are not like Animal House, but just student associations called fraternities that have both male and female membership. I know that's not what they meant here, but I'm trying to justify this.
There you go. And there's also some ageism because, wigs are bad. Obviously, that doesn't matter anymore. Look at Donald Trump.
Well, it's not a wig.
Not that he wears a wig, but he styles his hair to make it look like it's a wig.
Nah, it's more of a small dead animal curled up on his head or something. We got to give some political humor now that we're talking about a game called Campaign 84, for God's sake. Yes. Yeah, this is weird. There's got to be more to this, right?
I never, tried to access any option screens. Obviously, the ColecoVision has many fine buttons.
Yeah. Well, you're about to run out of campaign hours.
Right.
I know there was another mini game that I saw in some of them where it was like a flag like shape, and you're collecting the different pieces on the flag and stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, this is the only one I saw. I did do it on the easiest difficulty level, I should say, as well. So that may have an impact. So here's me, the Democrat. Note that the Democrat is represented by the color red, which is not right.
Yeah.
That is clearly a donkey.
Very much. Okay,
I'm clearly the red. So
why are the numbers jumping like that?
So the vote is being counted across the country, but because I tanked it and did all those negative things, I'm not actually going to win any states. I am actually going to perform worse than Walter Mondale in 1984, which shouldn't be humanly possible, and yet here we are.
So now what's happening here, as far as I can tell, is it's all going to come in, but you have 0 states conquered. So
exactly.
There's got to be something else.
Update. So
There's gotta be something else.
now we can see here on the Republican side, misrepresented in blue, that as the vote is counted, they are winning states and they are gaining electoral votes. Someone else will have to freeze frame and see if they are getting the correct number of electoral votes per state, as would have been accurate in 1984. But definitely the smaller states are adding fewer votes and the bigger states are adding more votes. So they did take that into account. Also, you will note that Alaska and Hawaii have seceded from the Union. Either that or they have been reverted to territories and are now under military occupation. I don't know which. But this is a continental United States election only.
Well, also, remember, you can't get there by following a border.
Well, no,
line,
that's
so.
right. So, as you can see, I did lose the election in a complete landslide. Even worse, Mondale managed to win one state. I couldn't even manage that. So, there we go.
Well, this was interesting. But yeah, there's clearly something missing. Yeah, did you try the other buttons on the controller to see if they did anything?
No.
Couldn't be bothered. Yeah, other buttons? Who needs other buttons? We don't need no stinking buttons.
And as I said, I did choose, as I normally do going into a new game on 7 Minutes in Heaven, I did, there were multiple skill levels, and I did choose skill level 1. So which is presumably the lowest difficulty. So it could be that increasing the difficulty adds more interesting options as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking up here. Apparently you do block off the states as you're playing. And so
is it supposed to be so there's supposed to be like a Kicks-like element to it? Is that what you're saying?
And maybe I'd have to actually look up the instruction manual for this. Let's see, Campaign 84 Coleco instructions.
So I guess that makes sense. Maybe it was supposed to be more of a Kicks-like game, and as I was playing, I was supposed to be blocking off states somehow, and then those things you collect are just there to extend the amount of time you have to do it, and aren't actually the be-all and end-all of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, that looks like it's. Let's see. On the screen, you encounter fundraisers rolling white dinner plates, and that's what they were. They were plates. And bad press. That's why it was the microphones.
Right.
Well, it wasn't really
Megaphones.
microphones. It was
some megaphone. Yeah.
Megaphone. Yeah. No, they were mini cams apparently.
Oh.
As you travel along
because
the state's
they were.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Which makes sense with Mondale. I mean,
yes.
Kind of camera problem. To campaign a state, to campaign in a state, you must travel over the entry spot for the state while pressing the left fire button. The entry spot for each state is somewhere on the state's border. As soon as you travel across the spot, you will enter the state's campaign screen. You will acquire additional time to campaign when you collide with a fundraiser character. You will lose campaign time when you collide with a bad press character. And the state campaign screen, on this screen you acquire popularity by shaking the hands of the state populace and by properly handling the issues. Move the joystick in any of 8 directions to travel over a state populace. You erase each figure that you shake hands with. You cannot travel over an erased figure. You gain additional popularity when you collide with an issue character that you have selected. You lose popularity when you collide with an issue character that you did not select. If you are for issue number 3, you gain when you collide with normal 3 and lose when you collide with the inverse 3. Issues cannot travel over an erased figure.
Okay, so yeah, that's the thing with doing 7 Minutes in Heaven, is you don't always know what you're doing, and that seems pretty obtuse to just figure out. I mean, I realize there's an instruction book that would tell you all of these things, but since the entry point is so precise, even if I had been button mashing a little more than I was, it's not necessarily true that I would have figured out what's going on. However, even though I do understand that there was a little more to the game that I missed, I still have to ask Sunrise Software a very serious question here. So, Sunrise Software, where's the beef? Okay. Because, a lot of little action mini games is not how I expect a presidential campaign to be run, though I do think a Trump-Biden campaign would be absolutely hilarious if it had Double Dare style physical challenges as requirements to win electoral votes. I think that would be delightful.
So, how many hips can you break while sliding around in slime?
Yes.
And pulling flags out of pudding vats? Yes.
Indeed.
Oh, I miss that show so much. Okay. Cool. Well, let's get back to the show then.
Indeed.